Ladies and gents, I know the question that you all have in your heads right now. Why in the world, coming up towards the halving, coming up towards the ETF approvals, it's a time to get out of Bitcoin? And I'm going to be answering all of these questions filling in your head right now in this video. If we will hit $47,000 before we see $36,000, or is it going to be the vice versa, and what I'm planning on doing with this position, and when do I think it is a good time to be getting into Bitcoin? So for all of that and much, much more, especially the on-chain analysis that we're going to discuss, it's going to be mind-blowing. Stay tuned until the end of the video. I'm going to be talking about the latest updates with the SEC, and if I think that, the ETF approvals is going to be a buy the rumor or sell the news type situation, or if I think that it's going to actually continue to pump Bitcoin towards new all-time highs. There's something to remember, and this something it's a pretty big something. And the inscriptions are creating all-time high records in transactions. How that's good for the Bitcoin network, that's also interesting to look at, and how that's going to increase the price drastically, that's also another interesting thing to look at. But the chart that is going to blow your mind in the totality of this video is going to be this one. And I know that it doesn't look like something too crazy with a bunch of indicators and oscillators, but believe me, with just a combination of the stochastic and these three simple moving averages, we can tell that Bitcoin may end up seeing a little bit of a drop off in the upcoming month or two. So ladies and gents, for all of this, all of that, and much, much more, make sure to watch this video until the end. And most importantly, guys, if you can smash up the like button, that would be very much appreciated. And just for today, or at least just the next couple of days, if you can hit the subscribe button alongside the like button, that would mean the world to me, because I have an aim personally myself alongside you guys, my CryptoKid squad. If we can hit 30,000 subscribers by the end of this year, it would be fabulous. And all it takes is just 90 subscribers in 10 days and we can hit it. So if you can go ahead and do that, it would mean the world to me. At 16 in 2023, hitting 30K would be massive. But ladies and gents, I know that all you care right now about is wondering what the hell is going with Bitcoin and if we're going to go higher or lower. So let's get into that. Now, in yesterday's live stream, we took some profits off of this trade at $44,300 exactly, which provided us very nice resistance going into today as we went up to it and then saw a rejection back towards the downside. Now, I discussed on the live stream yesterday how important this line is going to be, and if we can get over it, then potentially we can head towards the $46,200 target of this double bottom structure. But if we can't get over it right now, it may be a problem. So you're thinking, well, am I going to close this trade? Am I going to open a short? I'm going to get to that. But in terms of am I going to close this trade? No. If this was a higher margin trade, I would have been taking much more profits off of this trade. We only took about 20% in profits. I have a current take profit at 46.2, stop loss at 41.8, which is in profits, right? So if we hit the stop, then we're not going to lose money. We're actually going to be making a little money. But because it's such a small trade, I'm not planning on closing it at the moment or entering into a short position, because the general rule on technical analysis is to basically play along with the trend. And now that we have a bullish trend and the trend is your friend, I don't want to open short positions. Instead, I'm planning on buying Bitcoin cheaper if we fall down to these price targets of 36.2K, 31K, and 34K. And if you guys want to open these limit orders too, you can go over to the description below, check out the link for Bitflex to get up to $68,888 worth in prizes. And it takes about 20 seconds to sign up. It's super easy. If you go to the platform, collect your daily flex points through different trading activities, through just the daily flex points available, then you can redeem prizes, which are pretty crazy and pretty cool. And hopefully before the new year, I can get the Trezor. That's the new goal. It was the iPhone, but then I realized it's going to take a lot more flex points. For now, it's going to be the Trezor, which of course, after the Ledger situation may be a good idea overall. But ladies and gents, let's jump back into it and discuss why I think, right, that Bitcoin can actually end up seeing this reversal down. So the most important chart that I want to cover is not this, but this Bitcoin chart here. Now, the reason why I want to cover this one overall is because of the stochastic. Now, the stochastic has been pretty accurate on Bitcoin's price history. If we go back and zoom out into the previous bull market, we can see that Bitcoin had a bullish crossover, right, when we were oversold approximately in July of 2021. And then Bitcoin saw a bearish crossover going into just the next couple of months in September. And as you can see, Bitcoin rallied over here by about 67%. So let me see if I remember that correctly, just from the opening body of this candle. So Bitcoin rallied about 67, 66%. And then we saw a 35, I think it was a 35% drop. No, it was a 25% drop towards the downside. And I'm comparing this situation particularly with what's going on right now, because I know Bitcoin has had bearish and bullish crossovers on the stochastic in these past couple of months. And yes, every time we saw a bearish crossover, the price of Bitcoin did end up seeing a drop towards the downside. We saw another crossover here, Bitcoin ended up dropping, right? We saw another crossover here, Bitcoin ended up dropping. But now it's much, much more significant because the stochastic is going directly from an oversold region where we had a bullish crossover to now an overbought region into a bearish crossover. And it's very similar to the previous price action because Bitcoin ended up trading for about 5 or 6 green candles towards the upside and then saw the correction and continued pumping towards new all-time highs. I think this is what's exactly going to happen to Bitcoin's price action going into what we have right now. So Bitcoin saw this incredible 8 candle increase towards the upside. And now if these moving averages, these 3 simple moving averages of 3, 9, and 30, if we see the 3-period moving average cross into the 9-period moving average, it may be a good time to start opening shorts, although I'm not going to do that because I don't want to chase a short in a bullish trend like I discussed. I'm just going to be buying Bitcoin cheaper, but that crossover which we're having right now, even if we don't see a 25% drop, if we see just a 20% drop from where we are right now, that's going to take us, well, a 25% drop would take us to 32K and a 20% drop would take us to $34,000. So as you guys recall, I have limit orders at 34K and 36K. And just depending on how the market is looking like, I may add to that earlier on, or we'll just adjust it, but let's see. So make sure to stay tuned on this channel. I'll be updating you guys whenever I decide to open that long position or adding to the long position we currently have. So again, make sure to stay tuned on the channel. But the main gist is, the main idea is that Bitcoin may see this reversal down. And if it happens, it's completely healthy because we can see here that Bitcoin, once we saw that reversal, we pumped into new all-time highs. Now, I think this reversal is going to be fueled more by the Bitcoin spot ETFs because the ETFs are coming. There's no shadow of a doubt of that, because what's happening is we're seeing all of these advertisements for the ETF, for the ETFs. And look, if there was not going to be an ETF, it's basically illegal for all of these issuers to be creating marketing efforts for the non-approved ETF. But because it's most likely going to be approved, right now it looks like it's fine for all of the advertisements that is going viral on Twitter. So that's good, right? The ETF is going to come. But if we go over into the previous price history for Bitcoin, especially going into the past couple of months, all of these pumps and dumps for Bitcoin has been literally fueled by the exact same thing, the ETF approval. So I think it's already priced in, just like the S&P 500 already pricing in the rate cuts going into next year, which led to a 7-candle rally up, I believe. I think it's 7 candles. And look, similarly enough, right, we're seeing a bearish crossover on the stochastic, which when it happened the last time, right, when it happened the last time, the S&P 500 saw a great reversal in price. And actually, like if I was trading traditional stocks, if I was able to trade traditional stocks, I would have probably opened a short position as soon as the next candle that appears on the weekly time frame, started trading below this candle, right, below the current candle, because this is a beautiful reversal candle exhibiting an exhaustion in buyers. And it's so textbook after such a bullish trend towards the upside. So if you guys are trading the S&P 500, right, you may want to look at my analysis here. And of course, nothing in this video is financial advice, but I think this would be a crazy trade to take, in my opinion, right? Going into the support line, taking profit at the support line, and putting my stop loss to the wick over here, because that's usually how you trade shooting star candles in technical analysis. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to make here is that the stochastic is highly accurate. And we're seeing it right now on Bitcoin. I think it's early. We're seeing it early. Yes, it's possible that we see a cross back up, right? We see a bullish crossover back up. Bitcoin hits 47K from all the FOMO that is created on the ETF, right? So from all the hype that is created on the ETF, it is possible that Bitcoin pumps quickly to $47,000 as its very important level of resistance. And then after hitting $47,000, then we see a dip. And just because of that scenario, I'm not closing this long position, right? So if we see this scenario, then we'd be making approximately $1,100 in profits, and I added more margin to this trade. So if we do end up going to 46 or 47K, then it would be very, very bullish for us. And just because of that scenario, I'm not going to be closing it. It's possible because the way that Bitcoin acts is whenever we see a bullish move or a bullish news or a bearish news, people FOMO into that direction. So it's possible that we hit 47K first, but inevitably we're going to see a correction from my standpoint of about 20 to 25%. And once that happens, it's just going to be giving us an opportunity to be buying cheaper Bitcoin. And that is pretty much it. I mean, look, we're in a parabolic cycle. 1 year after the halving, we're probably going to see a all-time high for Bitcoin. And the on-chain analysis that I'm about to show you is going to support that as well. One only downside that I'm seeing on the shorter time frame is that Bitcoin in the daily, right? If we closed as a shooting star candle on the daily, we may see a reversal back towards the $40,000 area. If we do that, then not a massive deal. If we come back to the 38,800 or towards the $39,000 level, I think it may be a good place to potentially open a limit long position. And you know what? I'm going to set one right now because I think I closed the previous one because Bitcoin, well, as there's more candles, right? This line of support continues to go upwards, and now the price to potentially enter into a long position has changed to $39,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a long right now to 47K if Bitcoin sees a reversal, right, with an entry point of $39,000. So if I switch back to Bitflex, we can put an active order. So if we go to limit orders here, put $39,000. So I'm just going to put I don't want to do like a whole number in the thousands because usually those don't get filled. In the USDT spot, if I just put 500 with 15x leverage, that should be sufficient. Press confirm and then boom. Of course, again, if you want to open a similar trade with your technical analysis, then you can go over to the description below and sign up to Bitflex to get up to $68,888 worth in prizes. Now, coming to the best part of the video, right? The on-chain data, because this is what is really interesting. Like this is the actual interesting data that will support all of the justifications that we made for the price. And in trading overall, you can use fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and in Bitcoin specifically, you can also use on-chain data that can add validity to your summaries, right? And over here, we can see that Bitcoin has not seen any massive major pullbacks compared to the previous cycles. That's why one right now would be very healthy for the long-term growth of the Bitcoin price. And if we keep going over the charts, it's a very long summary. We have two different newsletters here. But this one basically explains why Bitcoin, will potentially keep on going up, especially as the supply decreases. And summarizing this article again, it just talks about the reduction in supply compared to the demand, because after the halving, we're going to see a significant supply cut from about 900 Bitcoin available to the market from the miners on a daily basis to a much less number. And with all of the ETF providers and all of the institutions demanding Bitcoin, there's going to be a supply shortage that's going to take Bitcoin as a market cap asset much higher. And that's basically what Michael Saylor said 3 days ago. The supply is going to fall, demand is going to increase, so Bitcoin's just going to go higher than what we're at right now. He didn't give an exact price target, but it's going to be higher next year. That's the conclusion that I can take. And going towards the ETF approvals, it's going to come the ETFs are going to be there. It's just a question of, is it going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event or not? I think it will be after seeing a price pump potentially to 47K, but it is coming. It's coming in almost 2 weeks, basically. The first one will hopefully be approved on the 10th of January, which is going to be from ARK Invest. The kind of feeling, the gut feeling that I had inside that something's going to go wrong is the reduction in price. That's what I feel like is going to happen. But something to remember based off the overall economy, right? Just something to add here for all of those guys that follow the regular economic events across the world and in the United States overall, because it's important, right? It's important in the sense that it impacts the Bitcoin price too. See, everybody's saying that we're going to see a soft landing with the interest rates going down next year. The S&P 500 market is rallying. The traditional stocks are rallying overall. Tech stocks are going crazy. Apple hit a new all-time high, etc. But the mention of the phrase soft landing is terrible historically, because we can see that in 2007, before the massive recession that we had in 2008, all of these massive guys were pointing out that the US is going to see a soft landing. But guess what? The markets tanked like crazy. We had one of the biggest recessions in history, and this is what the news agencies are saying at the moment. So I'm just gonna leave that out there. It's a pretty good indicator in my opinion, and I really do think that a reversal in the economy overall next year is going to be due. And yes, maybe the interest rates are going down, but if you look at everything else, it's not good. I think it's a bit more of a propaganda cover-up of the real situation that's going on in the economy. Now, the final thing that I want to get into before ending off this video is that the overall transactions of Bitcoin Ordinals Protocol and inscriptions has gone significantly high. We're seeing the NFTs absolutely go crazy. But this is very good for the Bitcoin blockchain. And that's what I talked about in This is the Next Big Thing in Crypto, the video that I made 7 months ago. Because now that the supply is going to be cut, right? The halvening is going to happen and the miners are going to be collecting less rewards. It's not going to be too profitable for them at this stage. So with inscriptions, with Bitcoin Ordinals, it creates new incentives for these unprofitable miners to stay in Bitcoin, to keep mining, to keep making sure that the Bitcoin network is decentralized and everything functions very well. And, it would give them this new incentive to stay and not sell their Bitcoin and create massive selling pressure. So that's why I think the Bitcoin Ordinals is very important. I just have one wish, that it's built on a layer 2 so it doesn't increase transaction costs too significantly and doesn't put the waiting time for transactions to be approved higher than what it needs to be, because Bitcoin is a transaction. It's a store of wealth and a unit of transaction. That's what it should be. It should be like gold. It shouldn't be like Ethereum. And if we look at the Bitcoin punks, right, they're going for like 4.1K, 0.1 Bitcoin almost in terms of like the floor value. But in my honest opinion, these are just PFPs with no utility. So if you were to keep this money in Bitcoin rather than putting it into a PFP NFT with no utility, then you would be making more money with Bitcoin in the long run from what I see. So that's why I don't like the NFTs right now. But of course, there's so much to be done with NFTs that could be good for consumers all across the world. But that's not the stage that we're in right now. So that's the only concern I have. But ladies and gents, that is basically it for today's video. I know it's been a very, very long one, and I appreciate you watching until the end. It was very informative. Let me know if you want to see more informative videos like this one. Of course, it takes a lot more effort to do, but I think it's very important to do them alongside the short TA updates, because it gives you a wider scope of knowledge about everything that's going on, not just in the crypto space, but in the wider traditional economic space too. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next video very soon. So guys, take care, and I will see you all in the next video very soon. Take care, guys, and bye-bye.